diagram showing the flow of events involved in using Checkmate authoring to generate files needed for the equator. Starting on the left side, we can create a program in Checkmate or import a program from your own CMM. With just a few edits, Checkmate exports a special authoring program to run on the CMM. The results of running this CMM program are imported into Checkmate, which Checkmate authoring in turn exports a DMIS measurement program and a cal file that the equator requires to run. Here we have Checkmate open and a part that we have programmed from scratch. We're using a Sheffield MeasureMax CMM, so we also could have imported a program if we wanted to. Our program is over on the left-hand side. If you look at the left-hand side, you will see these multiple folders. These folders are what we call segments, and it's simply a way of organizing and structuring our program. You don't need to know any special programming language to program Checkmate. It is simple point and click. If we want to generate some measurements, or add probe moves. So once we're happy with the program that we want to send out, we go to the output screen. Here we will export the authoring program to run on the Sheffield MeasureMax CMM. You'll notice in the top right window, where we will be selecting the segments to output, that we have a cal setting beside the segments that the CMM will be collecting raw data for. That is why you see the two DCC alignments. The first one is for the CMM. The second one is going to be used where we collect raw data for the equator. Over here on the left side, we want to make sure the output mode is set to raw points. Setting this to raw points, because if we measure a circle, we don't want what a CMM normally gives us, which is the coordinates of the center point. What we do want is the raw data points of each specific hit that defines it. Once we've checked these settings, then we simply go and hit the output button. The CM authoring program will now be generated. And this is ready now to send to the MeasureMax CMM. After the CMM has run the Checkmate authoring program, you can see we have a results file, this RTL file, that came from the CMM. This is where all of our raw data is. We now need to import this results file back into Checkmate. We'll select the CMM, go to the folder, select the file, and we say open. All of the raw point data has now been loaded, and what we have to do now is we go over to the programming browser on the left hand side, and we want to make one edit on each of these measurements. For example, these two circles here over on at the end of the program, if I double click on it to edit it, we're going to change the probing method from normal to an arc scan. Now the reason for this is because the original program that we sent out to the CMM for authoring was a touch point program, and now we're going to be sending a program out to the equator which is going to be performing a scan. So now we want to say these measurements are scans. Now, although I'm editing these one at a time, we have a global edit utility where we could edit all of them all at once. Once we've done that, we're finished. All we have to do is go back to the output program screen, And we still have our same segments up at the top here on the right hand side. But the difference is now is that we don't want the raw points data. So over here on the left hand side, we're going to set this back to normal. Now if we look at the output here over on the right, we're going to select Demas, and we want to output Renishaw modus for equator. So we go and hit the output button. And we now have the Demas program. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm just going to move this over to the side. Now we're going to output another program. That was the Demas. The equator now needs the cal file. So if we go over here and click on the equator tab, we're now about to create a cal file for the equator. There's a couple of options here. There's three options. The first option is setting the probe radius if one is not specified. The other two, the minimum point spacing, if I didn't have my points spaced close enough, I can specify a tighter point spacing to make the scan nice and close and nice and tight. The other option down here is, of course, for the lead in and exit extrapolation. We simply go to output, and now we have our cal file. We have our Demas file, we have our cal file, and we're ready to send these programs over to the Renishaw equator.